Personal log, stardate 218.237.11. I've made it down here into this strange, barren vault where Dagger seems to have gotten lost. The opening to the vault was big enough that I was able to land my ship in what looks like a hangar, and I'm now wearing my environmental suit in hopes that it will protect me against the toxic and corrosive atmosphere here. I've got my scanner with me, and I can hear it beeping as I search for signs of life. I'm hoping that somewhere in here I will find Dagger alive and well, and just perhaps lost or trapped, and I'll be able to get her out and bring her back to Relic Station. Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with Krista Sutton, our player character who is getting ready to do the Starforged equivalent of delving the depths in a vault where her friend Zephyr's friend Dagger has been lost, has gone missing. So in the last session, Krista returned to Relic Station after they were bathed in these gamma radiation bursts, and she asked about the burst, and Zephyr told her that it was a creature, a flying thing with these big wings and not much of a head. And so Krista tried to swear an iron vow to go and stop this thing from sailing around the sector and emitting gamma bursts that are frying and messing with the instrumentation and potentially damaging the life forms on board these settlements. And of course, we got another miss. We've missed both iron vows this time, so that put an obstacle in our way. She's going to have to find some way to shield her ship before she can investigate this thing further. But even before we do that, she needed to go down to the vault here on the planet Carrion, and she asked for a shuttle because she didn't want to potentially damage her ship in the corrosive atmosphere of Carrion, but the station didn't have any to spare because we got another miss. So she took her ship and faced danger to try and get through the atmosphere with as little damage to it as possible. We got a strong hit with a match, which ended up being an opportunity that the this vault here, which is just the generic name of an ancient civilization's remnants. This vault was emitting a beacon that was like a landing beacon that guided her safely through the atmosphere and helped her avoid all of the sort of sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid clouds that are sort of floating around in the atmosphere here. And she was able to guide her ship safely into the hangar. And so we're now here, and we're going to start our, shall we call it, delve. I've done a couple of things. First of all, I've set Krista's token to always display her name. It's a little spammy when everything's displaying names, so most of these are turned off, but and only show when I hover. But I'm leaving Krista's up so that I keep remembering to call her Krista instead of Charlotte. I've also zoomed in. If we go to our sector, right, this sector is, if we look at the measurement ruler, each of these is 1 light year across. Right, I'm sorry, not the sector. The sector is 25 light years. This is a 1 light year hex, right? But that's huge, right? That's enormous. That's thousands of astronomical units across. And so, whoops, I'm going to the wrong place. Let me go back to the map of this system so I can just explain. So this is 1 light year across. Each hex here is a fraction of a light year. And this is not to scale at all. This would be hundreds and hundreds of astronomical units. This is like further out than Pluto. But I didn't want to zoom in so much that we could put the positions of all the planets in a solar system on it, because if we did that, then this map wouldn't be a light year across. I'm trying to keep everything nested. So this is kind of a zoomed in part of this sector. There may be other stars around here, probably not. But there may be other planets in the solar system, and there may be other things around asteroid belts, whatever, floating debris, derelicts. So if more stuff shows up in this particular hex, we'll put it here. And the drift passage, of course, is the same one that's leading from the planet to Cinder. So that's kind of how I have that set up. And the other thing is, originally, I had named the star Kappa Tide. What I was saying was I was going to either use Tide or Kronos, but I actually decided I didn't like that. I don't like the way it sounds. And a lot of stars are named with a Greek letter and then some sort of a Latin or a Greek phrase or name like Beta Canis or something like that, because it's in a constellation that from Earth looks like the shape of the head of a dog. And so, and Canis is dog in Latin. So we're not going to do that, but I figured, well, the sector is called Kronos Tide, so I'll name it for this sector. At least in this sector, they're just going to be alpha, beta, gamma, delta stars in this sector, and we're just going to use Kronos. I don't know what the other sector is going to be called, so I don't know how much I'm going to keep that up for consistency, but at least that's what we're going to do to start with. So we're in a vault, and I've created kind of a vault map, which we can use to plot our development through here. So this is a lot like a delve, and the way it works is we've landed just at actually in the interior, right on the edge of the hangar here, and we're going to get our first look on the inside, and then Chris is going to need to delve further into the interior at some point, either through a random roll, and I think there's about a 5% chance you get into the sanctum, the interior, the core of the vault. And what Sean recommends is, if you haven't rolled that, by the time you make 6 progress on your undertake an expedition, which is how we do this, like a delve, if you haven't gotten there by 6 progress, then the next area you get after 6 progress will be in the sanctum. So you can see the whole thing here, but when we click on Krista, I've set it up with walls. So it's like she can't see the inside until we open this door. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first look, and then we're going to go ahead and continue sort of mucking around with this. So the carrion vault here, the outer first look is it was corrupting its environment somehow, but we don't know how. I don't know if it's causing the corrosion or if it's corrupting the environment in some other way, and that there's this cavernous opening. We've landed in the cavernous opening, and Krista is standing on the gangway leading down onto the floor, and now we're going to get our first look at what this thing looks like. So let's open up the sheet, and we're going to go to the oracles, and we're going to go to the vaults, and we're going to do our interior first look, right? The other thing I have done, I do want to point this out, is I've created, Sean recommends to do it like delve, you have to do what Sean calls an oracle array, right? In a delve, you have like an ancient ruin, and ancient is the theme and ruin is the domain. To do a vault, the vault is the domain, and the theme can be one of the location themes that he's created. So I chose ruined. This is a ruined vault, and the way this works is when we roll this, and whenever we get a new feature, this is like a new area, we can roll on the ruin table, the vault feature table, or descriptor and focus. And so this is kind of his recommended setup. On a 1 on 1d6, we're going to do the ruined, the theme. On a 2 to 5, we're going to do the vault. And on I don't know why it says 6 to 8 here. It should be 6 to 6. It's 1d6. On a 6 to 6, it's going to be a descriptor plus focus random generated. It's kind of like action and theme. If we get into a trouble, on a 1, we roll on the pay the price to table. On a 2 to 3, we use a peril from the ruined table. On a 4 to 5, we use a vault peril. And on a 6, we roll on the story complication table. Now, there's no way really for me to automate this, unfortunately, but we're going to be able to do that as we go along. So, so the first thing we're going to do is do our interior first look. So let's go here and interior first looks. And so there's going to be two things that we're going to roll and see what does she see. So Krista steps out and she kind of ducks her head under the edge of the the top of the door. She's wearing her environmental suit, so you hear the of her ventilator, right? That's keeping the oxygen recirculator. She's wearing a helmet with a glass thing on the front, and her suit is sealed up, so no parts of her body are exposed. She's entirely encased in this thing. It's going to be hard to swear iron vows from in here because her iron piece is inside her suit, underneath her shirt. But hopefully she won't need to swear any iron vows while she's in the vault. So what does she see? She looks out. She clicks on, if we look at her gear, she's got flashlights and headlamps. So she clicks on her headlamps. She's got two little lights on either side of her faceplate. And she clicks on her headlights. And she's got her magnetic flux pistol, her MFP 920 in one hand, and she's got her multi-scanner in the other hand. And she looks out and aims her headlamps around. What does she see? So she sees a descriptor plus focus. Okay, we'll roll that in a sec. And she sees that it's well preserved. So she's in here, and despite the corrosive atmosphere, this ancient metallic thing, whatever metal it's made out of, must resist the corrosion. It's made out of some sort of a metal, maybe that comes from the core of this planet. And it's this sort of dark greenish metal, and it's very solid and thick, and it has completely resisted the corrosion. It's very well preserved. And then if we look at descriptor plus focus, and I'm going to put in here greenish metal not affected by corrosion. Okay, so maybe there's no corrosion in here, in fact. We'll check that. But then if we look at the core, we're going to roll descriptor and focus, and we also get automated obstacle. Interesting. Okay. So she takes a couple of steps down the gangplank, and now we get this automated obstacle. So let me first draw out where we are, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so we're in a hangar, and there is an automated obstacle. So, so what is this automated obstacle? Oh, and the other thing we have to do, actually, before we do that, we need to set up our progress track. So we are undertaking an expedition in the vault. Okay, and I think this is going to be a dangerous delve, shall we say. We're not going to set a clock on it at this point, but we're going to say that Krista begins exploring the Carrion Vault, and I think I have that, and I can do that as a journal entry here, right? The Carrion Vault in the hangar. And so each time she succeeds at doing the expedition, much like the way you do a delve, she'll get to a new area. So first she has to transition past this new area, and we need to figure out what the obstacle is. So let's go to the Oracle, and we're going to ask the Oracle. So it's an automated obstacle. Is it and some sort of automated like doorway? In other words, is she going to walk off the ship and then a door is going to close? And is it going to close in front of her? Is it an automated doorway? I don't know. Well, that's interesting. There doesn't seem to be a 50-50 here. Let's try this again. Yeah, there's no 50-50 chance. Well, I would say it's 50-50, so let's just manually roll it. So no, it's not some sort of a doorway. So I think, is it then going to be some kind of an automated defense system? I think that's now likely. Is it going to roll, or are we bugged? I feel like we've introduced some bugs here, guys. There we go. Yes. So, and barely, but yes. So it's going to be some sort of an automated defense. So now the question is, what's the automated defense like? Let's try action and theme and see if we can figure out what the automated defense is like. Like, is it a weapon? Is it a shield? Is it a robot? Hide destiny. Hide destiny. All right, so let me have a think about what that means. Okay, so I think what happens is there's something that is concealing or camouflaging the way further in. So Krista's not even really aware of these automated defenses. She steps down off the gangplank and she sees this big, giant, sort of semicircular room, right? With the flat half of the semicircle is the big, giant opening that she just flew into and landed. And then it curves away from her to a point in the center. And she doesn't see any doors, and she doesn't see any openings, and it just looks like an empty semicircle. And so she thinks to herself, where the heck is Dagger? She runs her scanner up, and she's looking for signs of life, but she doesn't see anyone or anything. It's just empty in here. And she takes her scanner out, and she starts scanning, and she's going to do her first undertaken expedition, okay? So when we trailblaze a route through perilous space or journey over or survey, right, a mysterious site. So she takes her scanner out and she starts surveying, and she's staying vigilant. She's using her scanner, and she's rolling plus wits. Now, one thing I do want to check is, does this help her? No, so swearing an iron vow doesn't help her there. Does scavenging help her? Gathering information. No. So she's not gathering information. She is trying to... So should she secure an advantage first? I don't think so. I think she's going to try to go through here and... Should we secure... I think we should secure an advantage. I think first she should scan the area to see what there is before she tries to walk through it. She's going to stay here and scan the area. Sorry for rethinking. So she's assessing it, and again, I think she's using wits, right? She's using her smarts to assess the situation. She's not sneaking or anything like that. So she's going to secure an advantage and try to see if she can figure out where to go. Like, where are we going here? So she's assessing the situation, and we miss. So we're going to pay the price. So what price are we going to pay is the question. And yes, we missed again, guys. So let me look at this, and then I'll decide what price we're going to pay. Okay, well, the environment introduces a new hazard, right? I think even though this thing is okay, Krista's equipment isn't okay in this corrosive environment. And so I think there is a chance, right? Equipment malfunctions. I think the scanner stops working. And Krista's going to have to try and go without it, or maybe try to repair it. I don't know if repairing vehicles, mechanical companions or other devices. Yeah, so Chris is, darn it. Um, now this thing's not working. So I think she's not going to try to repair it right away. She just kind of bangs on it. It's not working. She puts it on her belt and kind of seals it up in its like pouch so that it doesn't get affected anymore. She figures there's no point to repairing it here, and she's going to just try and head forward and see if she can find a way forward. So let's undertake an expedition, and again we're rolling wits because she's just being intelligent about this. She's not sneaking and she's not being quick. And we get, wow, a matched strong hit. This is very swingy. Either we get a matched strong hit or we get a miss. I haven't had any. I don't know if we've had any weak hits yet, guys. So we now have an opportunity. So the way this works, if we look at our oracle array, so let's see. I thought, no, it doesn't really say. So we find an opportunity. So let me think about what opportunity we're going to find here. I think there might be some in the vaults oracles. Opportunity. Okay. So do we want to do a vaults opportunity, or do we want to do a location theme ruined opportunity? Right. So that I guess is where we will do that. Right. So let's roll this and see what the opportunity is. So we get a 6, so it's going to be descriptor plus focus. So let's hit those. And our descriptor and focus is supply. Violent supply. We rolled 100, my goodness. A violent supply. All right, let me have a think about what that means. All right, so I think Dagger came in here with a weapon, and Krista finds it on the floor, which enables her. So we reach a waypoint. So what happens is, so let's envision the next room. The violent supply was the opportunity. So let's envision the next room. So let's look up here and roll. And we get a 4, which means we're going to do a vault feature. And so we go into the vault features and we click and we get unintelligible whispers. All right, so Krista moves forward. She's not really going anywhere yet, but she moves forward and she hears these unintelligible whispers coming from around her. And she's not sure where to go because there's no visible entrance because a holographic image is up sort of blocking the doorways. But she finds Dagger's gun. Dagger has some sort of a, I don't know, like a stun pistol. And she must have dropped it. And Krista finds it and picks it up. And she realizes that there's a doorway here. She, like, when she goes to pick it up, she leans forward and she puts her hand forward and her hand goes through the image. And she puts her head through the image and she sees that there's an archway here leading deeper into this thing. Also, since we've reached a waypoint, we have made progress. So we've marked 2 progress on this. So now we're going to go to the next area. So let me kind of draw out the next area and I'll roll up and see what it is. All right, so Chris is in a hallway now. She's left the hangar behind and her ship behind. Her scanner's not working and she's moving through this hallway and she sees another archway. And so she's got to move forward and I guess undertake another expedition, right? We're delving the depths essentially. I find this a little less intuitive the way this is done than delving, even though it's technically almost exactly the same. But in any case, So she's going to move into the next room. Or actually, we can explore a waypoint. No, I think she's just going to continue. She's going to move into the next room, looking around to see what there is to see. And we get a strong hit. We reach a waypoint. So we make progress. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. I got to get rid of that. How do I get rid of this? I clicked the wrong thing. We didn't make progress. How do I get rid of it? Here we go. Do I not want to do that? Oh, there we go. All right. So we only have one progress on this. I'm on the wrong thing. We're on this. Sorry, guys. She makes progress on this track. And so we're now 4 progress in. And we envision the location, and then we mark progress. So let's envision the location by using our array again. And we get another vault feature. There's a lot of clicking with this. There's probably a faster and better way to do it, but so we're in the interior and we're going to look up another vault feature, and we get broken or inactive machinery. So we walk into some sort of a control room, and I'm going to call this, let's see. Yeah, I'll call this a control room. But it's inactive. And so we're in an inactive control room, and Krista's curious about what is in here, and she might want to explore it, because she's a curious character. So let me look at how this works. I'll just pause it here. All right, so Krista's going to explore this for 2 reasons. 1, she wants to see if she can find any sign of where Dagger is, and 2, she's curious about what this vault is like. So she's going to take some time to examine this control room and explore a waypoint. This is another wits roll. This is great for her because she's got high wits. Not that she's avoided rolling misses over and over. And we get a strong hit with an opportunity again. So we can make a discovery. We can envision a favorable situation, take +2 momentum, or gain progress and mark our expedition progress. So let me look at how make a discovery works. Let me pause here. Okay, so I think one of the issues is this character does not have enough momentum. So I think we're going to take the momentum and the favorable insight, situation, or resource. So I think she finds there's a couple of exits to this room, and Krista finds another sign that that Dagger passed this way. I think that she finds a piece of an environmental suit that got maybe ripped off along at the edge at the entrance, like a piece of the belt or something. So she finds that and she says, "Okay, I think Dagger must have gone this way. We've got a sign of her, and I'm going to just move this way, and I don't have to worry about the other entrance because I know Dagger went this direction." Right, and so this gains us some momentum because we definitely need some momentum, and she's going to go through the next archway and undertake another expedition. And remember, if, despite what this looks like on the map, because this isn't to scale, if we get to 6 progress, we can get to the inner sanctum. So if she makes 6 progress, then the next move will be to go, the next room will get her to the entrance to the inner sanctum. So let's undertake our expedition. And again, she's doing it with intelligence, and she's doing it with observation. And we get another opportunity. What is with these dice? 2 55s in a row. So we reach a waypoint. So that means, again, we gain progress. And that means she's reached an area that is liable to be the the next room before the inner sanctum. And so let's look at what we find. So let's describe the area, and then we'll come up with an opportunity. So the area is a ruined area. So let's go to the oracles and go to the location themes and go to ruined and roll feature. And a sad memento of a lost life. Oh, well, that doesn't sound good. That almost sounds like Dagger might have died here. That's not so nice. So we find a sad memento of a lost life. So let me have a think about what that means now. Okay, so I think what Krista finds is a small, like a data pad, and she picks it up, and it's a recording by Dagger that is almost like a last will and testament. If you find this recording, please get it back to my parents, tell them I love them, etc., etc. And she says, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of here. My shuttle was destroyed and I can't get back, and so I'm stuck here in this vault, and I might starve because I don't have enough supplies, and the communications isn't working. Something about this place is blocking my communications, and I can't get out, and my environmental suit is starting to wear out, and I just don't know if I'm going to make it. So if you find this and it's still operational, please tell my parents that I love them. And so that's the sad memento of the lost life. Now, in addition, we also found an opportunity. So let's just go ahead and roll the opportunity in the ruined area and see what it gives us. And it gives us an interesting or useful device or artifact. Well, I think that's it, right? We know that she's here, and this device. Let's say this is her scanner, right? And so now Charlotte's got a scanner. Krista's got a scanner she can use because her scanner's broken. Now she has a scanner again, right? She's picked up the data pad slash. It's also got scanning ability, so it's maybe not as good as her multi-scanner, but she can scan again and scan for life signs and stuff. And so she continues forward, and she's now reached the inner sanctum. And this is a doorway that's closed. But in this data pad has been recorded by Dagger the sequence of buttons you have to press on this ancient vault. It's these, and I want you to picture like almost like 1950s technology. It's not like a touch screen or a membrane or anything. It's like these big, heavy, switches that you have, like light switches that you have to click up and down, and there's like a row of 10 of them, and she has to do it in a proper sequence, which Dagger figured out, and that's going to get the door, this heavy door, to lumber upward in this green metal and allow us into the inner sanctum. And so now the next room we come to is going to be in the inner sanctum. So let's draw that out. And let's see what it is. Let's undertake an expedition. And again, Krista's using her intelligence. She's now holding up the data pad of Dagger and using it to scan for life signs and see if she can find Dagger. And we get a strong hit. So now we envision the location and we mark progress. Now, since we're in the actual interior, I kind of feel like we want to do a sanctum roll, and we also need to figure out the vault purpose. So let's reach our waypoint. And it's a strong hit. So let me look up how we do the purpose, and I'll bring you back. All right, so I feel like we need to do that when we have finished the expedition, which we haven't done yet. We haven't found Dagger yet. So let's roll our array and see what feature we find. What kind of a room is this? And we are going to roll on the vault feature table, and we're going to look in the sanctum section. And what we find in the sanctum is pods or chambers with preserved corpses. So we find some kind of a mausoleum, right? A galactic mausoleum. So, well, what would we describe this? I'll just call it a burial chamber, or yeah. So this is a burial chamber, which contains the pods yeah, it's a bunch of pods of preserved corpses. So the question is like, why a burial chamber? Um, that's strange. Krista walks in, and it's a big, enormous room, much larger than the scale I've drawn on this map. Um, it's a huge room, and she's actually at the top of it, and it goes down, down, down underground, and it is row upon row upon row of these sort of humanoid-sized, kind of oblong, like sort of oval-looking pods with transparent uh, fronts, and then the rest of them are in this same greenish metal. And she sees what look like these alien creatures with long limbs and fingers and bulbous eyes, and maybe almost like kind of insectoid, but they're very strange because I think these are almost like fungal people, kind of like the Migo from Lovecraft, right? So she sees these insectoid dead things in here, and um, and it's some kind of a burial chamber. And so she thinks, what is this? Is this whole place just a place to preserve dead bodies? And so she moves along, and there's like a gangway going all around the inside of this, and then ramps leading down to the lower levels. And so she's moving with her scanner, and she's detecting, trying to see if she can detect life and so on. And I think she's going to investigate this again. I think she's going to explore a milestone or a waypoint, right? Because this is strange to her, and so she's going to start examining it with Dagger's scanner and trying to see what exactly do we have here. And again, we're rolling wits, and we get a weak hit. So we cover something interesting, but is bound up in peril or reveals an ominous aspect of the place. Envision what we counter. Take +1 momentum. So we're at 6 momentum now. And so what kind of a peril or ominous thing? So let's see, what kind of peril are we going to do? Let's once again go back here and vault trouble. So I don't think we're going to do it that way. I think we're just going to use the sanctum or the theme. And I'm going to say, is it the sanctum? Actually, is it the sanctum? But I think it's going to be likely. I should have just rolled the oracle, but I was going to do 50-50. Is it sanctum? I'm going to say it's likely. So 75 or less. Otherwise, we'll do ruined. Yeah, it's sanctum. So we're going to go to the sanctum peril. What kind of a peril do we find here? Paranoia or suspicion takes hold. Okay, so Krista has not found her friend, or her friend's friend, Dagger, and she suddenly starts to think, is this... At first she thought this was a burial chamber of the builders of this vault, but now she's starting to think, she sees some empty ones near the top, and that they're filled all the way down. And she starts to think, wait a minute, is this full of the guys who were the builders? Or is this full of the people like me who've come in here and explored? I feel like I'm being watched. Is something going to attack me? Is something going to come after me? Am I going to end up in one of these coffins. I don't like this place at all. I want to get out of here. Let's see if we can find our friend. So she's paranoid. She's going to try to end the expedition right now. So we're going to do our progress move, guys. There's a real big chance we're going to miss here. You know, if we roll 9s and 10s. And you see the way these dice have been rolling. But I think she's paranoid now. So she's going to try to end it. Right? And I think she sees that she's got to keep going down. And she's going to just start running down in spirals and see if she can finish this expedition right now. So where are we here? So finish an expedition. When the expedition comes to an end, roll the challenge dice and compare the progress. On a strong hit, we reach our destination. Blah, blah, blah. So let's see what happens. And then if we succeed on this, we'll roll the purpose of this vault. So I'm not sure here. All right, so I'm going to say I don't know what this is going to do when I roll it, because I don't know if it's going to ask me for the progress. Let's see. Oh, so it's just telling you. All right, you got to roll your progress. So here's the progress roll. And we get a strong hit. So Krista runs and runs and runs down to the bottom of this thing, and down at the bottom, she finds Dagger. Now, because it's a strong hit, I think Dagger is alive, right? Dagger is alive, and she's laying at the bottom of this thing, and she's hiding because she's got the same paranoia. And when she sees Krista coming, she says, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot." And Krista's like, "What are you talking about? I'm here to help you. It's me, Krista. We've met each other a couple of times. Here, I've got your data pad." And she's like, please don't kill me, don't kill me. "No, I'm not going to kill you. I'm here to help you. Come on, let's get out of here. I brought my ship." Oh, thank you. I was sure that whatever put these bodies here was going to make me one of the bodies. And Krista says, "I was thinking the same thing. Let's get the bleep out of here." And she grabs her and says, "Come on, let's go. What is this place anyway?" Okay, so first let's follow all these rules. Mark the reward on your discoveries track per the expedition's rank. Dangerous is 2 ticks. So now we go to legacies, and we mark 2 ticks. We've made a couple of discoveries. And the other thing we're going to do is go to the Oracle, and we're going to look at the purpose, right? So use this to figure out the original role. So let me pause here and just read it, because based on what we've seen, there might be an obvious purpose or a couple of obvious purposes rather than just doing a full random roll. So just give me a sec to review this. Okay, guys, well, staring us right in the face, I think the capture and control of other beings. Dagger says, as they're running up, she says, "I don't think these bodies in here are any sort of a coincidence. I don't think this vault, being this barren place with a beacon that leads you in, is a coincidence. I think something built this thing to capture beings. Look in here. It's not any one species." She points, right? There are a whole bunch of different organisms, different types of what must have been intelligent species from ancient times that the humans here haven't discovered yet, and they're all trapped. There aren't any humans because this thing is ancient, but there are all these other beings that must have been sentient beings, and they're all here. It's a whole bunch of different species. It's not the builders who are in these pods. It's everybody the builders have captured, right? So let's get out of here. And they're going to run. And what we're going to do now is the equivalent of escaping the depths. It's called setting a course, right? We're following a known route to try and get out of here. We're rolling plus supply. So Krista hands back the data pad. She pulls out her gun. She gives Dagger the stun pistol. Dagger's still got some supplies. Her environmental suit's starting to run out of oxygen. So Krista is able to siphon off some of her oxygen, or tries to siphon off some of her oxygen to Dagger to give her enough. And we're going to try to make it back to the ship. And so we're rolling plus supply. And let me just check one other thing before I do that. Okay, I just wanted to see if we got any momentum from these strong hits, but we did not. It's been a very It's been very hard to earn momentum with this character so far. I feel like I earned it a lot more with Wiglaf. He got a lot luckier, I think, and it's weird to say that, but he never missed on his vows. All right, so we're going to try to get out of here rolling plus supply. Um, so I guess we're just going to roll plus supply here because it doesn't seem to um, do it automatically. So let's just roll plus supply. We don't get any bonuses. Um, and we're going to try to get out. And we do. Strong hit. So on a strong hit, we reach our destination. The situation favors you. Okay, so Chris is able to share some of her oxygen. She's got a spare oxygen tank. She kind of clamps it onto the standardized environmental suit that Dagger has, and the two of them book it out of this burial chamber, out of the inner sanctum, and back to the hangar where Krista's spaceship is waiting. And Dagger kind of says, "Hey, nice ship. This is yours." And Krista says, "Yeah, my mentor had it, and after he died, I inherited it. Come on, let's get up here. Let's get in here." And she punches the button, and the gangway lifts up, and the door closes. And Iris beeps at her from its charging station, and she says, "I'm back, Iris. I could have used your help in there, but I didn't want you to get damaged. I've already lost the multi-scanner." And she pulls that out and throws it into one of the side rooms to be repaired, and then she says, "Come on," to Dagger, and she like pops her helmet off, and she takes her environmental suit off, and Dagger does the same, and Dagger's like, "This environmental suit's going to have to be repaired. It's been damaged so badly by this corrosive atmosphere." And the two of them get into the bridge, and Dagger just sits in the navigator seat but doesn't pilot. And then Krista starts flipping switches, and Dagger says, "What are all these weird phrases, these languages? This isn't Galactic Common. This isn't Forged Common." And Krista says, "No, my mentor labeled everything in all these obscure languages from the individual ships. Some of it's in Ophion, some of it's in different from all the different Exodus ships that had their own languages. He did that so that nobody could steal the ship because they don't know what any of the controls are." And then she starts pressing buttons. She knows what the controls are. And Dagger says, "Can you read all these languages?" And Krista says, "I can't read them all, but I know what the buttons do and the levers." And she pulls back this lever, and she flips that button, and she reaches up to the top and clicks a couple of buttons, and the rockets roar, the engines roar to life, and the ship lifts off and heads back out. And she tries to dial into the beacon to see if she can find it to reverse course. So now we're going to face danger to get back out of the atmosphere without damaging the ship. And I think this is going to be facing danger with wits, right? Because she's using her brains. We've been using wits a lot. And so that's helped. It's helped us. It's our best stat. Quite the opposite from Wiglaf, who was doing all these journeys and all this stuff where you had to use your brains. Of course, Krista won't be as good in combat, but and she's not quite as good at heart either as Wiglaf was. But so far, and by the way, not as good at heart, missing on vows. But at least we have some momentum now. So some of the worst misses, some of the like lower level misses, we're rolling ones. We might be able to cancel some of that. So anyway, she's gonna lift off and try to follow the beacon. And so let's see if she can. We get another strong hit. Take +1 momentum. And she's successful. So yes, she reverses course. She follows the beacon. She's got her little a little scanner on, and you can. I don't feel like this is super advanced multicolor. I feel like the sort of the view screen on her ship is kind of like the old Star Wars movie stuff, where it's like the wireframe, and so it's got wireframes of the danger areas and a wireframe of the beacon, and she's following the wireframe and piloting as she goes, watching where the ship is on the wireframe and watching in the atmosphere. And Dagger just sort of whistles in appreciation of Krista's ability to do this and follow the course. And then she gets back out into the solar system, back out into orbit. So let's go to that map. So we're back up in orbit and heading toward Relic Station. And so the trip takes a while, maybe takes her 20 or 30 minutes. And Krista says, "Boy, I don't know what that thing was down there. It seems almost like it was just set up to capture people like us. And Dagger says, absolutely, I think that's what it was set up to do. And Krista says, I wonder what else is down there. I think there were other rooms down there. I'd like to take another look. And Dagger shakes her head and says, I wouldn't go back down there unless you would go down with an army. Wouldn't want to be captured, would you? And Krista says, oh, probably not. So we got Dagger. Let's take a look. Right, we navigated the vault and found Dagger. So that is another element of our vow. So we made 6 progress. And then the last thing is to return with Dagger. So Krista navigates to the space station and she presses the button, says, Jackpot calling Relic Station, Jackpot calling Relic Station. I need landing permission. I've got your missing scientist with me. And Relic Station answers, good to hear, Jackpot. You can dock in docking clamp 3. And so Krista navigates to it. It's a different docking clamp than where she was. She sees another ship is there now. And she docks the ship, and the airlock connects to the gangway, and there's a hiss, and the door opens, and she heads out with Dagger, and Dagger's carrying her corroded, partially damaged environmental suit. One of the notes I want to make here with the multi-scanner is that it is now damaged and will need to be repaired. So we have to remember to do that. So they head to modules 04 on the outer ring, which the doors are working now, and the door hisses open, and Zephyr comes out, and she says, oh, thank you, Krista, Dagger, and she reaches out and gives her a big hug. And that means we have completed this, right? And we've now made 9 progress. And Krista says, I told you I would get her back for you. So now we're going to see if we can fulfill our vow. This has been a long session, but I think we should see if we can fulfill the vow. Not forsake, fulfill. So we've come to the end of our quest. And we're going to try and fulfill our vow. And so we're going to make our progress move. And we can only blow it if we roll double 10s. Or double 9s. Or a 9 and a 10. And we roll 8-4. Strong hit. So we succeed. And so on a strong hit, mark a reward on your quest legacy track. So dangerous is 2 ticks. So we go to our legacy track, and on quests, we mark 2 ticks. And I think that since we fulfilled the vow, right, if you develop your relationship, right, swearing an iron vow, completing a quest for their benefit, right, and so on. So I think let's develop the relationship. Let's forge a bond, right? When a relationship is ready to evolve, roll the challenge dice. So Rowena turns to Krista, and Krista gives her a big smile, and she says, see, I told you I would get her back alive. And you really won't believe what was down there. And so the two of them go to the cantina, and they tell Rowena the story of what was down here. Rowena's an archaeologist, so she says, describe these things for me. I would love to know more. Or do you really think that this was designed to trap other sentient beings? And Krista and Dagger are convinced. Remember, because that place incited paranoia, right? Krista says, you know, now that we're back here on the station and away from that place, I'm not sure. And Dagger kind of looks at her and she says, well, you weren't down there as long as I was. The longer I was down there, the more convinced I was that it was just a place designed to capture us and put us in those coffins and keep us there. And Krista says, I'm not really so sure about that. I mean, what would the purpose be of just capturing you and putting you in the coffin? What good does that do? I feel like there was a lot more to that place that we didn't explore, and I would like to go back there at some point. Rowena, of course, really likes learning this information, and she takes the data pad that Dagger had and looks at the scanning information that Krista provided with the using that data pad, and so on. So I think this is a chance for Zephyr and Krista to become really good friends, and so let's see if we can mark progress here. So weak hit. So on a weak hit, as above, but they ask something for you first. To gain the bond and the legacy reward, envision the nature of the request and do it. Or swear an iron vow to see it done. So, what's she going to ask her to do? I think she's going to ask her to go back down there and fully explore the rest of this vault and find out what's going on down there. And I think this is going to be another iron vow that we're going to have to swear. So, in order to do it, we're going to have to swear an iron vow. But I think that's going to have to wait until the next episode, guys, because this is already almost an hour long. So let me have a think about how I want to do this. And when I bring you back, we'll have sort of figured this out. Until next time, guys, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Starforged Alpha Cluster.